This is Chester City. Formed in 1885, the club had a long and storied history over 125 years, from success in the middle leagues of English football and domestic competition alike, to being the club that spotted a young lad named Ian Rush. However, the club fell into liquidation in 2010 under the ownership of the controversial Stephen Vaughan, and it appeared that the club was finished. However, fans formed the splinter group City Fans United. They reclaimed their home ground, the Diva Stadium, brought in former Colwyn Bay manager Neil Young, and set about relaunching the football club in the Evo Stick Division 1 North, 7 leagues below the Premier League. This is their story.
We basically had nothing. We had no players, no kits, balls, bibs, corner flags, and until we didn't get the keys to the ground, probably till about 3 or 4 weeks, we had to have a team up and running to play a pre-season friendly 5 weeks later. So it was a challenging time.
It was exciting to think that the club had reformed and everybody was new and getting to know one another, and we managed to get enough people together to actually volunteer in the office and everything else that needs to be done. Despite
the rough beginnings, things were about to look up for the club for the first time in many years. They started winning.
Oh, it was so exciting, and because everybody wanted and willed the club to actually do well. And when they got promotion, it was total enjoyment everywhere, because everybody jumped on the bandwagon and we all celebrated as much as we could, and especially all the managerial team and the players worked really hard behind the scenes. We had a good team put together, and Neil Young was an absolutely brilliant manager to spur him on and get the promotion.
You know, our aim was to always try and get this football club as many promotions as we could, as quick as we possibly could. And obviously that first season was a big season for the football club, because it was about trying to make sure that, you know, we still had the feel-good factor amongst the supporters. It went right down to the wire, and in fact it went to the last day of the season, which was very nerve-wracking, but thankfully we went on to win the championship in our first year.
In what is now considered a Football League record, over the next few years the club made 3 back-to-back promotions, and in the May of 2013 broke 100 points and over 100 goals for the 2nd season running to clinch the Football Conference North and a promotion back into the same league they were in before liquidation only 3 years earlier.
I think there was a number of factors involved in those back-to-backs. It's having been involved now for 15 months, I've had the opportunity to reflect on what's happened. We're a big club, and we're a big club in 3 divisions that were mainly small clubs, and so really the odds were stacked in our favour.
Well, I think you would hope it's down to hard work, grafting as a manager and a management team. You know what you're doing. We made a lot of changes year on year to hopefully improve the squad, and as I say, we've won 3 championships on the bounce, and as you say, the last one, we broke all the records, or a lot of the records in the Conference North, won the league by, I think it was 16 or 17 points. We've had a fantastic time in the last 3 years.
If we could give the manager a big enough budget and he used the money wisely, then we were going to succeed, and I think basically that's what's happened. Those 3 promotions were, you can't take anything away from the manager, because he chose the players to get us where we are, but at the end of the day the strength of the playing budget was crucial in the success of the club.
Who would have thought in 2010, in 2013 this football club will be playing in the conference again? So anything's possible.
The club decided to stay semi-professional in a league that is a real step up in quality, and they're finding it far from easy.
It's a massive step up for us this season in the Conference Premier. You're up against a lot of full-time teams. We're not in a position as yet to go full-time ourselves, and fitness does play a massive part in things. But it's very early days as we are currently speaking. We've had a third of the season gone. We've got points on the board. It's been a struggle, but we've seen a lot worse teams, and I think that come the end of the season, we'll be safe and we'll be able to use this season as a springboard to greater things in the future.
Because it is a national league and a lot more travelling, some of the players from last year who we would have liked to have kept couldn't commit due to personal reasons and work commitments. So yeah, we've had a tough time in trying to recruit this year because a part-time club and a full-time league, and to have the players at a level that can compete with the other clubs is a difficult task.
The team we've got now has got about 2 or 3, I think it's 3 players that were with us all the way through the 3 promotions, and so the whole team changed.
We've worked very hard in the club, you know, along the way. I think, you know, people say we've moved too fast. We probably have, but you know, you take your promotions when you can get them, and because you know, nothing's guaranteed in football, as we can see with much bigger clubs that have not got promoted out of leagues that we've come out of. So you know, I think the infrastructure of the football club, you know, I think everyone will admit it's not where it's needed to be, but there's a lot of hard work going on behind the scenes, you know, to try and open up as many revenue streams as we possibly can so we can compete at whatever level that we're playing at.
Chester FC is just one of an increasing number of clubs rejecting the traditional model of English football and embracing the alternative of the supporter-run model. It's been successful for them so far, and could it be pointing to a genuine alternative in the future?
Supporter-run model is what everyone wants, what every fan wants, but it has got its difficulties. You need to get the board right. That's the important thing, and I think there's an evolution in any supporter-owned club of how you start out and then how you find out exactly what you need, what skill sets you need on the board, and that sort of thing. There's an evolution, and that's what's happened at Chester. You know, we've started off with a board of very, very willing people who've resurrected the club and got the club up on its feet through lots and lots of hard work.
I think there's always a danger within football that you know, if you do rely on the funds of one person or you know, a group of people, there's always the danger that one day they'll become bored with it, or one day they will run out of money themselves to continue to bankroll it. Whereas supporter-owned clubs such as Chester are very much that the fans do own the club. It's taking on board a foreign model that's worked well out in Germany, and you know, you look at it and it's worked well within the lower rungs of English football, and yeah, I don't think it's going to be too long before you maybe get a club at the highest level that's going to have to adapt this mentality to move forward. And you know, providing that you've got a fan base that's full of skilled people like we're fortunate enough to have, then it is possible to move it forward.
I mean, personal view is it's good in many ways. You know, I think the biggest problem you will have with fan-owned football clubs is the expectations of the supporters and what model you take on. You know, I'm not that informed on, you know, various models, but you know, the big problem will be is obviously is if people expectations are to be a league club, or to be, you know, higher than a league club, you know, to go to the championship, etc., etc. You know, revenue streams are very difficult in a fan-only owned model. You know, people talk about outside investment from other areas, but a fan-owned model, you know, to try and get it up the leagues will be very difficult.
We are where we are. We need to look at the board more carefully. We need to look at the whole structure of the club more carefully, with a view to making it more like a business, and then making it sustainable year on year, without sort of running the club along how much money can we give the playing budget, you know, and then the rest of it just falls out. We need to have a sustainable model built that will progress year on year exactly the same fashion, and I think, you know, we're in the process of doing that now.
You know, money's very expensive, and it's getting more and more expensive. The economic climate externally from sponsors and people coming through the gate is getting less because, you know, people have got to spend the money on more important things. So, you know, I think supporter-owned model is a fantastic, you know, way forward, because, you know, it gives the supporters, you know, ownership of the football club. But I do think there will be issues in terms of revenue, unless you've got a Barcelona or something where, you know, you've got 80,000, 90,000 people every week. So yeah, I think it's a great model, but you know, how far it can go and what the expectations are of the supporters, you know, has to be linked to that.
In February 2014, Neil Young departed with the club on amicable grounds. Surprising given his positivity during production only a few months earlier. The man who's replaced him is Steve Burr, and now the rest of this season and the immediate future of the club's performances are in his hands. It's all well and good having a supporter-run model, but money has to come from somewhere. So how does business work at Chester FC?
The football club has got a great history behind it. You know, I mean, Chester City and football in the town itself has been going on for many, many years. So obviously it gives you a little foothold in the door when it comes to recognition of a football club. I think realistically the biggest advantage here that we've got is the last 3 years have been nothing but unprecedented success, and on the back of that, businesses do want to come and be involved and be a part of us.
Obviously I was lucky enough to be the chairman during the promotion season from the Conference North to the Premier, which was an exciting time for me to be involved. While all that was going on, there were of course the financial challenges that I found once I'd got myself as chairman. I was able to look at the finances of the club in more detail and found that they weren't quite as they seemed. So my first task really as chairman was to set about stabilising the financial situation whilst the club was carrying on playing football.
We're not in a situation where we can fall back on a sugar daddy and the finances that may have to bail you out of any problems that you may have. So you've got to basically run with everything, have strong financial accountability within the club, and have, you know, staff and everybody who works here with the mentality that, you know, what they're operating with is their own, and they're proud of it and they're careful with it and they're looking after everything. And you know, we're confident that we have systems in place and structures in place here at the football club that we can achieve that.
Once we got things under control, obviously then we had to put a budget together that would make us more sustainable going forward, and that's what we're working on at the moment. The budget's set. It's a challenge obviously because the gates are down, therefore we're constantly chasing the budget, but we need to maintain total control over the finances, and that's a priority for me.
You know, we're also conscious that currently we're in a financial recession. Everybody's watching every penny that they spend, and it's down to us to offer a value for money product that the consumer wishes to spend and has a great experience above all else.
While traditional clubs can afford to pay all of their staff, Chester FC relies heavily on the work of volunteers who give up their time in all aspects of the club, from administration to working in the club shop or stewarding on match days. Some jobs aren't enjoyable at the best of times, never mind not being paid for it. So what is it that makes fans make the club a part of their life beyond the 90 minutes each week?
They're all big football fans, really and truly, and it's just that everybody wants the club to succeed. And so we're all willing to put as much time. I mean, we don't just work volunteers in the office, we do whatever is necessary to help the club move further forward. As I say, we work on match days. There's quite a few of us work on a match day, a very hectic day, and very tiring, but especially it's great if you win, obviously, but if the people weren't behind the scenes doing these things, the club couldn't survive.
I think fans are passionate about football, and they see that the way the football club is constructed, and they say, well, I want to be part of that. And you know, we have a very much open door policy here that, you know, if somebody's got a skill or they want to get involved, then, you know, we're only too keen to accommodate them. I think, you know, when you look at the volunteer set that we have, you know, we've got solicitors, accountants, lawyers, you know, people are all working in different way, shape or form, and they've all got the skills that are absolutely vital to the football club and will cost a lot of money. And, you know, we're fortunate enough that they're given the skills for nothing.
Yeah, I think there's a number of things. I mean, as you say, I'm a volunteer myself, and the reason why I'm involved primarily is because I love the club. I've supported it for 50 years. I've been a significant sponsor here with my company QHP for 25 years, since we came to the Diva Stadium really. I've always followed Chester home and away wherever possible.
Everybody's friendly to each other. Everybody knows each other. Everybody sticks around, helps each other. It's just one of them community clubs where that's where our saying comes from. Our city, our community, our club. It is a family club, and that comes down to the fan-owned club and the aspects of that all working together.
You know, it's a dream to come and be involved with your own football club. It really is, and I'm sure that's the same for every volunteer. You know, if you're a fan, what's your ultimate goal? It's to be involved with your football club, isn't it? And I think I speak for most of the volunteers in saying that that's what it's all about, really.
The true test for Chester FC now is surviving an ongoing relegation battle in the Football Conference. It's far from easy, and opinions throughout the club are mixed at best.
They find it very difficult, I think, the way we've watched the team play in the last 3 or 4 months. We might stay in the conference by the skin of our teeth, I suppose. Hopefully we'll get mid-table, but I think that there's a vision that Neil Young saw anyway, and obviously we're not going to get promoted again this year. That won't happen. But if we can stay in, yeah, fine. We'll see.
I mean, we've got to get through this relegation battle, and I genuinely believe that we will. If we don't survive, then we go down and we regroup and we come back stronger, in my opinion. So we might have to suffer the pain of 1 year.
One area that is working out for the club is their youth system, which has brought much success in its short time. Could looking to the players of the future, rather than those of the past, be the key to future success?
It does help the club when you've got a good development scheme, as we've seen with Tom Pearce, Liam Blake and Sean Miller all breaking into the first team. Currently we do a progress scheme, which is if the lad's good for his age group, we'll push him up to another year. So if it's under 12s, he'll go to the under 13s, play a couple of games in there, see his development, and then bring it back into under 12s. He can progress that to the lads, and then it'll progress each age group as we go on.
It's important we build that youth development that we've got in place now. We possibly add to it with an academy, Scholars Academy, and we'll bring those young boys through playing football for the first team.
The academy side, I know there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes, which could help us, but we need to gain first team football league football before we can progress that as fast as we want, which will take time to do.
With an uncertain road ahead, how do Chester now face their future?
I think, the future is very bright. I think, we're going to build, we're going to develop, we'll get used to this level of football that we're at, and then ultimately, I think the key that we've got to develop is we've got to start growing more of our own players. We're not in a situation where we can go out and spend X amount of money on this superstar striker. We've got to grow our own from, a very young age and develop them, and the structures being put in place at the moment that, there's youngsters coming through the system, and more and more as we move towards a full-time football mentality, then this will appeal to people far and wide to come and be part of us.
Our plan, in my opinion, should be we stick together, we work together to stay up in this league, we stay here for a couple of more years, get a financial situation, that's the main key of this whole club situation, worked out, and then try and progress into league football, basically.
Precarious, isn't it? You don't know what's going to happen really and truly. We played last night really well, and it was great to see the team scoring. It's been, the last few months we haven't scored many goals, and that's always been a downer when you're coming away from a match. But we'll just keep plodding along the way we are, and hopefully stay in this league.
The progress of the first team will be a future one where we should be aiming to get to league football, where we said 5 years. I think that'll take us 10 years. I think we need to progress that carefully.
I think the way the Premiership's going, it's drifting away from community football. In terms of local people, you very rarely see a local lad playing for a Premiership side now. And we can offer local people the opportunity to come and play for Chester. There's benefits of that local people come, local support's there, the family will come and support them, and again it's people coming through the gates. and you know, it's all working together with this community ethos that we've got here. And you know, the motto of the club is based on community football, and long may it continue.
The future, I think the future's bright for this club, I really do. We're a big enough club to be considered a threat year on year in the Conference Premier, and I don't see any reason why, in the fullness of time, with a good balance of money in our account, that we can't make the grade and get back into the Football League.